Hello, Calvary. I want to say thank you to the worship team that was just up here. It is not something I take for granted anymore. To be able to worship with a body of believers. My church and the pastors in my church recently got COVID-19 and they were very ill. And so our church has had to cancel for 3 weeks in a row because of the outbreak at my church. And so having a corporate worship time is something that's a blessing, and I never want to ever forget that in this COVID-19 time. So today we are privileged to be able to be up here today to represent the Nikeo Leadership Institute. And we have a group of students that are a part of this Leadership Institute on campus. And as we meet on Thursdays, we do weird activities and we talk about leadership. And so today I thought, what a great opportunity to invite all of you to join us in what a Nikeo leadership talk would be like. And before we get started too much on the talk part, we're going to have mass chaos for just a little bit. And so if you'll join with me in this mass chaos, if you feel comfortable, if you're a guest and you would rather watch the mass chaos take place, you're more than welcome to watch it take place as well. So here's what's going to happen. In a minute, I'm going to ask 7 volunteers that have already been asked to stand up, and they're going to spread across the room. And when I tell you to go, I'm going to have you go join one of those 7 groups. And the reason that I'm having you join them is because we're going to do an activity that is this. See if I can get this to work. We're going to do a face card activity, and they're going to give each of you a card, and you won't know what, if it's a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, even higher, a jack or a queen or a king or even an ace at the very top. And you won't know if you get a high seated card or a low seated card. And you're going to put it face down. You will not look at it. And they're going to tell you what to do when you get to your groups. And when I tell you to go, you're going to put the face card on top of your head, and you're going to walk around for 3 minutes, and you're going to interact with people in your group. But you're going to look at the face value of the card that they have on their forehead, and you will treat them appropriately based on the face value that you see on their forehead. So the 2s and the 3s should be treated pretty much like dirt, okay? So you should have fun doing that, right? You get an opportunity to treat somebody poorly for 3 minutes. If there's a king or queen in your conversation, then I expect you to act appropriately and to treat them like they are a queen or a king. Now, mind you, they don't know what kind of card they're holding up. They can't see it, and you shouldn't cheat and look at yours. Okay, so as you have this card and you're going around interacting with people, you just talk, have a good time, laugh, have a good time. That's what this is about. For 3 minutes, you're going to interact and live life with them. But I don't want you to cheat, and if you see a king, and I don't want you to cheat and say, "Oh, Your Highness." Just treat him really good, so that he has an idea or she has an idea that their card is probably high of value. Okay, you get the idea of what I'm asking you to do? Okay, so volunteers, would you please stand and move to where you want your groups to come? You can be up high in the bleachers, you can be anywhere. Okay, now I need you all to risk and go to one of them. Can you do that, please? You could go anywhere that you want. Amanda is up there in the corner, and she needs more people. Okay. So you should be getting explanation from your leader right now. They should be telling you to switch cards with somebody as well. Okay, nobody is looking at their card, and then give your attention to me for just a second. After we get done with the 3 minutes of interaction, I don't want anybody to look at their card. So you have it on your head, you can put it down, but don't look at the value on your card, okay? Because we have some questions for you after you get done interacting, and the questions are going to be, do you think that you have a high card? Do you think that you have a low card? Why? And you're going to have a chance to tell your leader if you think it was a high or a low card. Okay, for 3 minutes. Are you ready? Any questions? Go. Okay, stop. Please put your card down. Do not look at it. Do not look at what the value is. Your leader is going to ask you 3 questions now. Listen to the questions that they ask you. Do you think that your card is high? Do you think that your card is low? And why? Tell your leader and discuss it with your group. Okay, leaders, if you have a story that is entertaining and you would like to send them up here to the front to show everybody and to tell the same story to the crowd, please send them forward. I'm going to ask you. Dean Josh is coming forward to talk to you. Is there anybody else that you would like to send forward to tell their stories to? Okay, we have 3 stories coming forward. The rest of you can go back to your seats, please. Please give your cards back to your leader before you go. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Take your cards with you. All right, we have 3 examples, and we're just going to get a feel for what was happening in the small groups. And so as I give you guys the microphone, if you could just tell us, you haven't looked at your card yet, tell us if you think your card is high or low and why you felt that it was high or low because of the interaction that you had.
Oh, well, I already looked at my card, but beforehand, I thought I had a low card because nobody was really acknowledging me a whole lot. But then I looked at it, and I had an ace. So I guess I had such a high card that people didn't know what to do with me because I was just so special.
My group said that your card shouldn't stick to your head, but I haven't showered in a couple weeks. But yeah, I guessed that I was an 8 at the end because people said I was kind of, important, but not really important, not super valuable. So I guessed I was an 8. I still haven't seen my card.
Yeah, I'm 99% certain that I was low because the people in my group literally just said, "You're trash, get away from me."
Okay, so let's see what the cards say.
Yeah.
It was a 3. Dean Josh? He had an 8. He guessed right. And an ace. All right, guys, thank you very much. So today, the topic that we're going to discuss is giving people a voice. And this is a really important topic to me because it's a leadership principle that I have taken to heart many times. And even as God was giving me maybe just thoughts and ideas about what to share with you today, I was reminded of how I don't follow this principle enough. And I want to follow this leadership principle more, giving people a voice. And I'm going to start with a story because I think if I reach back to 1994, how old were some of you in 1994? -6. In 1994, I was at a job, and it was at a school. I was hired as the volleyball coach at this school. And as I started with my team that year, there was a girl on my team that was pushed down to the bottom of the barrel in social circles. And she had a lot of talent, physical talent, and I decided I wanted to give her a voice. And I started doing things like asking questions and all the things you're supposed to do when you give somebody a voice. But you know what happened? She started to flourish, but the other people on my team weren't open to giving her a voice. And because they weren't open to that, they started attacking me as the coach, and it got worse than I could have ever dreamed because they attacked me and they took my voice away because parents got involved, the board of trustees got involved, and it was a really bad situation because I hadn't tried anything wrong. I was just trying to give her a voice. People didn't like her, and they didn't like me after trying to give her that voice. And there was so many times in that situation when I didn't have a voice. I couldn't coach my team. They didn't listen. I couldn't talk in a conversation with parents because they didn't listen. My voice had been taken away. And the hopelessness that you have when your voice is taken away isn't good. I think back to those times, and it was scary for me. I was young, teaching in my first school, and as God took me through that whole trial, the whole idea of giving people a voice and how important that was, it kind of stuck to my head. And then later, as I've come to Calvary, one of the things that Calvary University does really well is they give people voices. And I learned that. And I watched different administrators, like Dr. Tom Bonine. He gave me a voice when I first came to Calvary. Randy Grimm, he gave me a voice when I first came to Calvary, or a few years after. I've been at Calvary for 25 years, and getting a voice is something that has allowed me to not take for granted that principle, and then I in turn want to give other people that voice as well. And so as we talk about giving people a voice, up on the screen you see often we would rather trust ourselves instead of trusting somebody else, or we look at how much value they have in the school or how much value they don't have in this school, and we give the people with value, oftentimes, of a big voice. But those people that are lower in stature don't have the same opportunity to be given a voice all the time. It's harder for us to give that voice to that person. And I think that the issue that we're going to really try to address honestly today is how easy it is for somebody to be walking beside us and to not have a voice. And why is that a problem? So as we go through, I hope to answer that. One of the coolest verses that God has challenged me with in this whole principle is what you see up there. Let every person be quick to hear. Listen, quick to hear? I'm not like that very often. I need to do better at that. I want to talk. I'm an introvert and I want to talk. I don't have any idea how much you extroverts want to talk. But be quick to listen, quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. That's challenging to me because that's a principle for leadership that we need to apply and make it a part of who we are. So part of the way that I've learned how giving people a voice can work is to be patient with somebody. And being patient with somebody is a real important part of this equation. So you're talking to somebody and you're thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do after I get done with this very long conversation? I can't wait till I can leave. Sometimes conversations are long, and you have to be patient with that person to give them a voice so that they can be heard. Do we begin formulating what we want to say before they get done talking? Oh, I want to tell them this story. I want to tell them this. And if we're talking to somebody in a conversation like that, that's not giving somebody a voice, because giving somebody a voice is listening and wanting to know who they are, what makes them tick, and why they're struggling or not struggling. Do we listen with half attention? Hold up your cell phones. Just hold them up. So what you're holding up in your hand is one of the things that can cause people to not have a voice around you. Because even as I'm sitting someplace with my best friend, Carrie, we know each other pretty well, but I sit and I look at my phone while she's talking to me. That's not giving her a voice. That's not listening, and that's not giving her a voice the way a leader would give somebody a voice. And I'm challenged with that, and I turn my phone off, and I listen, and I want to do better at listening. Another way that you can give people a voice would be to ask questions. Look at Proverbs 18:2. A fool is somebody who takes no pleasure in understanding, but only expressing their opinion. I'm sorry, but I fail at that. I do not do well at that all of the time. I need to do better. Number 2, this is cool. The purpose in a man's heart is like deep water. There are so many people in here that are listened to. There's always also people that aren't listened to very much. But those people who are not listened to, they have deep character, deep ability to be able to impact others. And being able to be a listener that draws that out is what being a leader is all about. Good listening means that you're going to ask open-ended questions, and you don't want to just have a yes or no. You want to make them talk. And that takes a lot of practice and a lot of focus for a good listener to be able to give somebody a voice. Loving is a big part of this equation. Look at Philippians 2:3. A good listener is humble and counts others more significant than ourselves. So you could just picture, you have an ace card on top of your head. You are the president of a company, a CEO of a company. And if that CEO loves, like the Bible tells us to love, then they're going to count others more significant than themselves, and they're going to relate to people like that. Again, my heart is crushed when I read that at times, because I think back to the times when I don't treat others more or better than I think of me. Listening looks not only to its own interests, but also to the interests of others. Caring about what that person next to you is going through more than caring about what you have to do later that day or what your struggle is what this love that we hear about in Scripture means in my mind. So if we can give people a voice, if we can talk, I'm going to give you an explanation of what happens when I am really emotional and somebody gives me a voice. I am struggling with something and I don't know what to do. I am emotional about it. When somebody gives me a voice and they listen, it takes the emotion and it puts my emotion into neutral. Have you experienced that? And you having your emotion kind of calm down, it allows you to step forward and to do what you need to do and be effective at what you need to do. So by giving people a voice when they're struggling, you're putting their emotions potentially into neutral and allowing them to step forward without having emotions take control of their situation. That's a big deal because you can be God's hand in their life for that moment in time to really help them. Showing Jesus. So oftentimes when I am convicted of not being or giving people a voice, I think to my life back to my life and I'm like, whoa, I'm not giving God a voice in my life either. I don't like to listen, period. If I don't like to listen to the people around me during those times, I'm often not very attentive to what God is trying to get from me and ask of me. And that's something that's really challenging because if I practice listening and if I practice giving people a voice, then I think it impacts my ability to listen to others and it impacts my ability to listen and be quiet in front of my God, and that changes me. I think the most important thing, if I had each of you be really honest, some of you are going to feel in here that you've been given a voice, and some of you are going to feel like you don't have a voice. If we were really honest, some people would feel like they do, and some people would feel like they don't. And one of the things that I have found is that if I'm a leader, and every one of you are leaders, you all have a group of people around you that are impacted because of your leadership. If you give people a voice and they start to trust you and they start to listen, they change. Have you ever seen that? They get more confident. They trust you. They're willing to step in the gap for you. They're willing to try new things. They're willing to give you ideas. They're willing to join you in ways that you have never been joined before. And together as a group, if you have given people a voice, you will impact the kingdom because you've done this. But what happens if you push somebody down and you don't give them the voice? At that point, they don't ever trust you. They're always quiet. They're sometimes cynical because believe me, when I wasn't given a voice, and at times when I'm not given a voice, I get cynical and I'm like, nobody wants to hear. I don't have anything to offer. But then somebody comes along and they say, Jeanette, you have a lot to offer. And then all of a sudden, I start trusting that group and I want to make an impact and I start giving ideas. I start giving my time and effort to that group. And that makes a big difference when you're trying to make a difference for the cause of Christ. I think when I change to the next slide, you're going to see a video. And it's going to be either Josiah or Nathan, because I've asked several people to talk about giving people a voice and how they have been impacted by others giving them a voice, or they in turn doing it to somebody else. And you're going to see these videos here. Each of them are very short, and so bear with me.
Hey y'all, Coach Regier asked me to give a little bit here on giving people a voice and the testimony and impact that can have. So yeah, I've got my little spiel dealio here, and listening to others, gaining input, counseling, and being counseled by others. These are really important things when trying to build relationships between each other as brothers and sisters in Christ. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Therefore encourage one another and build up one another, just as you are also doing." You really need to get to know people in order for you to really encourage them. At the same time, people need to know you and who you are in order to be encouraged, in order for you to be encouraged. You've all heard the saying that everyone needs a Barnabas and Timothy in their lives, with yourself being Paul. And a person who's been a Barnabas of sorts to me in my life is David Allen. Mr. Dave was one of the first people that I met at Calvary. He took me right under his wing. He didn't even know me hardly. And not only did he help teach me sound, but he taught me things like time management, how to say no, basic life things. He's given me numerous jobs to do for him, which I'm very grateful for. He's taught me things like conflict management and a myriad of other things that I'd use all my time on. And I just hope that I can be like that around here and in ministry and wherever I go. In terms of me giving a voice to other people, you know, I guess that's part of my job description, being a sound guy. But for real, I just take time to listen to the guys on the hall and spend time with them. Dawson Andrews and I talk a lot. I really appreciate him. Yeah, we just talk, get to know each other, listen. That's really the main thing. People really care about that. So that's all I've got for y'all. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Nathan, for that video.
Hey, Calvary. Really quick, I want to share a story about how I was given a voice and about an example how I've seen God allow other people to have a voice here on campus. So my story, when I was a freshman in high school, learning how to play guitar, I was really excited about that, and it was really fun for me. And I was kind of hoping I could use my ability somewhere. But my worship leader approached me at church and was like, I'm going to be gone this Sunday, and so I need someone to lead worship. And he asked if I would do it. And I hadn't really led worship much before, and getting to do that was something that increased my love for it. And he allowed me to play on the team after that, and I was just really encouraged that he gave me a voice. And it's been cool to see how God's given me chances to have that voice here at Calvary too, and other people have allowed me to have a voice in that area. On campus, I think it's cool on Sunday night, the prayer night that Bethany has led the past year or so, but other people have really had a chance to use their voice in the prayer night. I show up on a given Sunday, and it seems like someone else is like always leading it, but that's been awesome. An example of how Bethany's used the principle of giving others a voice and allowing us to have a chance to have a voice in that time of prayer. So yeah, I just challenge you guys to allow other people to do things that they may not normally do if you're in that position to give others a voice. And if you have a chance to use your voice, to make the most of that opportunity.
Thank you, Josiah. Anna Lee has a video that we're trying to get out to you as well, and I'm going to have to do that by social media because she shared how she has been challenged by that as well. I just couldn't get the video up. And so as I think about trying to draw this to a close, I think about, again, every one of us are leaders in particular areas, in particular circles. And your challenge, should you choose to accept it this week as a leader on this campus, would be to find somebody that doesn't have a voice and give one to them and watch to see what God does while you choose to give somebody a voice, with loving on them, listening to them, and being patient with them. That's how this campus has moved for so many years, and that's why the people like to be on this campus, and that's what God can continue to do with people who give others a voice. Would you pray with me? Father God, I thank you for the opportunity to just talk about one small principle of giving people a voice. Oh God, we desire to be different because we serve you, and we want to be leaders that will be able to make a difference for you. And God, where I fall flat, where others fall flat, challenge us about how we can give those people beside us a voice to be heard so that they can join us in a team as we fight for the kingdom with you and for so many people that need to hear your gospel. God, may we take that principle and make it continue to happen on this campus. We pray this in your name, thanking you for every student that is here and the impact that they make day in and day out. Amen. As we are done with this part of our assembly today. I have one more video to show to you, and I'm going to change hats, and I'm going to put on my athletic director hat here just for a second. And as many of you know, we have a conference volleyball tournament coming up here on Friday from 5:30 until about 10 in the evening. And the Calvary Warriors are playing at 5:30 against Manhattan Christian College. But we've made a difficult choice, and that difficult choice would be to allow parents into our gym where we haven't had a chance to because of COVID-19. We've tried to make a bubble around our campus for the safety of you and for our players as much as possible. And because this is an end-of-the-year tournament, we are going to do things just a little bit different. And so please hear this message.
What is up, Warrior Nation? Exciting news for you today. Well, a little bit of bad news first. Unfortunately, at the girls' volleyball game on Friday night at 5:30, the students will not be able to attend, seeing as there's only 10 tickets per team, and we've elected to give those away to the families, rightfully so, of the volleyball players so they can come and watch their girls in tournament play. But we don't want to forget about you guys. So Friday night at 5:30, I'm inviting you to the SLC to join me and watch the girls' game live streamed on the big screen. We'll hear Sam Cheddar and his awesome announcing at 5:30 sharp in the SLC. Grab some dinner, and there's a little bit of a surprise for you guys. We're going to be putting on some competition, so show up early, get yourself a number, and if you get your number called, you'll be able to compete for a prize in some awesome competitions. So I'd love to see you there. Again, that's 5:30 in the SLC. See you guys then.
All right. So you all know that you are invited. There's some of you that are going to be helping us as an athletic staff with the tournament, and I can't do a tournament without those of you that help, and so I'm so grateful for those of you that are going to help. But we also want to say thank you to our fans, because you guys are crazy cool in the black hole as you support our teams. And in this COVID-19 time, we have to socially distance and keep people safe in the Pyramid Athletic Center. And as we try to work this through and do what's best for everybody, this party activity is our way of saying thank you to all of your support, for all of your support as you've gone through the seasons. All right, I've prayed, so I am going to say that we are officially dismissed. Thank you so much.